Okay, guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all well. Thank you, every one of you, 8,000 almost subscribers. Absolutely fantastic. I can't believe I've got to 8,000, almost anyway. That's absolutely brilliant. Thanks very much, everyone who's subscribed. So, on today's video, I'm going to be making this bonsai pot here, and I've recorded the whole process. So, I'm going to show you how I did it. So, it's the first time I've ever tried to make one using this method. I think it turned out okay. Nice solid pot out of concrete using the profile mould. So stay tuned. Back to you in a second, and we'll get started on making this pot.
Okay, so I'm just making the sand mould for the pot. So this is just wet sand, and I've just made it into the shape. And then we're going to put some oil around the rim. This just prevents the concrete from sticking to the wood. So I'm just using some engine oil at the moment. You can use cooking oil, but I just had this to hand. And next we're going to be putting a really runny layer. This is just cement and water, just so we get a nice smooth rim. So you want to make sure all the wood's covered in this, and I normally trickle it down the side of the sand mould because it kind of dries straight away and it holds it together. And next we're going to start mixing our sand and cement. So it's 2 parts sand to 1 part cement, more or less. And this is a coloured play sand that I'm using. You can use any sand as long as it's a fine sand and not gritty sand. So we've got that mixed up, and the consistency you're aiming for is a thick porridge type consistency. So it should come off the spoon like that, but not be runny. So now all we've got to do is start the first layer. Try and be gentle, because if you notice here, sometimes I push a bit too hard and it pulls the sand off with the cement. But not to worry. So just work your way around the pot. It's kind of easier if you start from the bottom and push it up the side. Kind of keeps the sand in place. So this is my first attempt at this, so this is all a learning process, and the next one should turn out a lot better. So we'll just finish off the first layer of concrete. Okay, so that's that first layer done. So we just put a little bit of dry cement just to help it stay in shape and to dry out a little bit quicker. And then we're going to start with putting in the wire support. So I should have spent a bit more time doing this, but it's quite difficult to do whilst you're videoing, kind of trying to concentrate on 2 things. So, but anyway, the idea is to just put some wire around mainly the rim and the base and the corners, just to give it extra strength. Basically, the more wire you use, the stronger your pot will be, and it's less likely to crack. So I tried to get some in each corner. It doesn't have to be particularly pretty because it will be covered up by the concrete anyway, but I should have spent a bit more time, because in a few areas it did poke out of the concrete on the inside. Anyway, so that's that done. Next is to put another layer of concrete on. It can be slightly runnier the next layer. And just cover up all the wire. And then we're going to start using our profile and start trying to mould this into some sort of shape. Okay, so I'll just apply another quick sprinkling of dry cement just to hold it in that shape, and then using our plastic mould. This was just a bit of plastic cut out of I think it was a cat litter tray or something, but any sort of plastic, PVC plastic is fine. And what I should have done is made the bottom thinner than the top, because I did it the opposite way around. That's why the concrete keeps dribbling down so much. But anyway, it turned out okay in the end. It just was a lot more fiddling than what I was hoping for. So I did a good few layers just to build up the concrete and to cover up all the supports. I was going to put feet on it, but it was too awkward, and I was messing around a bit too much and it just kept collapsing, so that's a lesson learned. So now I'm just smoothing off the bottom and filling in any holes and cracks that I can see. I'm trying to get it as smooth as possible. Okay, so now I've got a really runny mixture of sand and cement, just to smooth off the finish. I decided in the end to get rid of that rim around the bottom, because I thought it would just break when I'm putting the pot down anyway. So I just scraped it off with the scraper and then smoothed it over with my hands. So basically I could have done this without the mould. Okay, so this is about 48 hours later. I left it for 2 days to dry. Probably would have been okay after a day. So that's that dry. So we've got to remove the sand now. So just scraping it out gently, just to try and make sure I don't crack anything. And that's all the sand removed, and the rim turned out quite nice and smooth. So the outside finish is a bit rough, but I think it looks quite good like that, so I think I'll leave that as it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to clean up everything. So that's the main problem with cement and concrete, is it was very messy, and I should have removed this when it was still wet, but I did manage to scrape it all off when it was dry. So just clean off the sand from the inside using the metal scourer pad. And this is our finished product. One nice little bonsai pot. It's actually quite large for a bonsai pot, but I've got some large trees that I can put in there. So I think it turned out okay. It's not as perfect as I would have liked, but I've learnt a lot of lessons for the next time. So anyway guys, that's the bonsai pot completed.
Okay, everyone. So thanks so much for watching. So on today's video, we made this pot here. It didn't turn out quite as good as what I was hoping for, but it's my first attempt using this method. I think it turned out okay. So things for next time when I make one. Don't spend so long trying to get it perfect, because the more you mess with it, the runnier the concrete gets, and it just starts slumping and collapsing. So I had to rebuild one of the corners at one point. And also another thing, spend more time doing the wiring inside. Make sure you get it neater, because I've got a little bit here which is poking out the top of the concrete, a couple of bits inside. And also when I recorded making the holes, it didn't come out on the video, so I do apologise about that. But I just used a small plastic tube and just poked it through when the concrete was still wet. So yeah, I think that turned out pretty good. So I'm quite happy with that. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So I'll put one of my trees in that and use that as a nice bonsai pot. So nice, easy DIY bonsai pot. Cost around probably about £1 or £2 to make. Cement and sand is the only thing I used really, except for the wire. All can be picked up for a few pound, and I could probably make about 10 of them out of a bag of cement and sand. So yeah, overall cost for that's probably about £1 or £2. Cheap, easy DIY method. It's quite fun as well, to be honest. Anyway, I need to get a turntable as well because it's awkward trying to turn it around on here. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you will subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And feel free to leave a comment and please like my video. Thanks so much. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great week.